What if your guru is lying to you? Not intentionally, but what if everything you've been taught about spirituality is completely backwards? What if the people who sound most certain about spiritual truth are actually the ones who know the least? I'm about to show you why the most profound spiritual breakthrough you'll ever have might come from embracing one simple truth. Uncertainty is your superpower. But first, if you're tired of spiritual teachers who claim to have all the answers, you're going to love what we're building here. Hit subscribe if you want to be part of this movement. Here's the paradox that broke my brain. The more confident someone sounds about ultimate truth, the less likely they are to actually possess it. Think about it. If consciousness is infinite, how can any finite mind contain it all? Look at every major spiritual tradition. Buddhism says there's no self. Hinduism says you are the self. Christianity preaches surrender. New Age teaches manifestation. They're all claiming to be the truth. So either thousands of years of spiritual seekers were mostly wrong, or we're asking the wrong question entirely. What if wisdom isn't something you get from someone else? What if it's something that emerges when different perspectives collide? What if the guru isn't a person, but a collective? We're living in the most spiritually confused time in human history. You've got gurus telling you to manifest millions, while Buddhist monks say desire is suffering. You've got scientists proving consciousness creates reality, while materialists insist you're just meat with delusions. No wonder people are spiritually paralyzed. We're drowning in certainty. But what if I told you there's a completely different way? What if instead of seeking the answer, we learn to ask better questions? What if instead of following one teacher, we created collective wisdom? This isn't just theory for me. I spent years guru hopping, looking for someone who had figured it out. The breakthrough came when I realized the question is the answer. That's why we're creating this one paradox collective. No single teacher, no final answers, just better questions. What happens when quantum physics crashes into ancient wisdom? Why might enlightenment be the biggest trap of all? What if asking, "Who am I?" loses all meaning when we're actually all one? These are the kinds of questions that will either drive you crazy or set you free. We're building something different. A collective of people who've discovered that the best spiritual insights come not from gurus, but from seekers bold enough to question everything together. And when that happens, something emerges that none of us could access alone. So here's my challenge to you. What if you stopped looking for someone to give you answers and started trusting your own capacity to ask profound questions? What if the guru you've been seeking is actually the collective wisdom that emerges when seekers like us come together? If this resonates, subscribe and join our collective journey. Every week we'll drop a new paradox that will expand your mind in ways you didn't know were possible. And here's your first assignment. Drop a comment with the biggest spiritual question you're afraid to ask out loud. Because in our collective, your question might be someone else's breakthrough. Remember, at One Paradox Collective, we don't promise enlightenment. We promise something better. The courage to stay curious, the wisdom to embrace uncertainty, and the joy of discovering that the best questions have no answers. Your spiritual teacher might be wrong, but your questions? Those are perfect exactly as they are. See you in the paradox.